joining me on another episode of Sunnylanka. I'm Priya, and today we're going to be making a favorite condiment in every Sri Lankan household, pickles. And today it's going to be lime pickle. There are many varieties of lime pickle, but today we're going to do the basic one. And there are two ways of doing this, a slow way and a fast way. Two parts to the pickle process, and so we'll do part one now. The slow way is every time you use lime and you're done with the lime juice of it, or lime or lemon, you're left with the lime what do you call it, like this thing here, and you just have an empty bottle on your countertop, and you just drop it in there each time you use up the lime. So I'm just going to put these in today and use a tight lid and just tie it up, and then keep it in a dark part of your counter. And that's the slow way of doing it. So you will have to keep putting the lime in until you have enough to fill up this jar. Then once in a while you have the jar of lime sitting there, it'll start to brown after a couple of days. So to show you some that I've already put into this old lime bottle, there you go. See, it browns up after a couple of days. So what you do is you just put in the lime pieces and then top it up with some salt. Each time you put some lime in, just drop in some salt, and that's to preserve the lime so they don't go like moldy. And you just give the bottle a shake, and there's a quick way to do this. I have here about 8 lime. You could use as many as you have. Sometimes when they're on sale you can get a whole bunch of them all at once. So some of them are partly ripe and some of them are still green. I have a pot of boiling water here where the water is just heating up. Once it comes to a boil, I'm just going to turn off the stove, drop the lime into the water, and keep it covered for a minute. Once the water comes up to a rolling boil, just drop the lime in. Careful not to splash the liquid onto you. And turn off the stove. Cover the lid, and you're going to let it sit for about a minute or two. Okay, I've let it sit for almost 5 minutes now. So once they're turned color, I'm just going to take them out carefully and lay them onto towel, and pat them dry. Just do these for now. So I'm going to pat them dry very well and remove any moisture. They are warm, so be careful. Don't squeeze them, just pat them dry very gently to remove any moisture. Okay? Okay, so that was the video I had taken actually last year. And that was just the first part of the process, and so I just wanted to continue. Now I have another batch of lime that I have done everything up until this point with. I've just boiled it or warmed it up in the rolling boiling water, and here are the limes. They're now cool to touch, and this is my last year's batch, so I'll show you how to get to this step with these. Okay, so here is my container that I had my last year's lime in, and I've let it sit for a year. You don't have to. You can use it within like I'd say even a month or 2 months, depending on how much sun you get, really. If you keep it out in the sun, it pickles faster. So here are my limes, but this is what you would do. Get yourself a nice sharp knife, and you want to make slits, and this is not the end where it's closed off, but where it was attached, the stem was attached, and you're going to cut it down. Okay, and be careful, the lime should not be hot or else all the juice will run out. And make the slits like so. Okay, and then open it up, and let me get myself a plate here, and salt, lots and lots of salt you need for the pickling. And basically what you're going to do, here's my salt, and you're going to drop it into the crevices. Okay, and each of these limes are filled with salt in it, and then you drop the whole lime in there. So I'll show you another one. Again, the stem side, not the bottom, the stem side up. Just cut it down and see how the juice jumps out. So you got to be careful and go all the way, but not all the way through. So 3/4 of the way, so it's still attached on the bottom. And there. Okay, so then it's easy to open up, and then grab yourself a spoon of salt, and then just drop it in between the cuts, and fill it up with the salt. Okay, and then you can drop your lime in. So I'm going to do the rest of these like that. So I've put in all the limes into the jar, and the reason I was able to use this the jar with the you know, without cleaning it out is because it has all the salt and the lime juice from the last time, so they'll all act as preservatives. And the same with this plate that I've just been cutting the limes on. It's got the salt and the lime juice on it. So I'm sorry that you can't see that, but I'm just going to drop everything in, okay? And that's going to help us out well. So let me clean that up, and then I will just put a very tight lid on this jar and keep it aside. And if you keep it in a sunny window, it pickles very fast, okay? So especially in countries where you have lots of hot climate, you can do pickle any time of the year. But here in Canada, it gets cold, so I have to make use of the summer as much as I can, and this is something I do every summer. So let me just finish it up here. Now that I've got my salt in, I'll clean up the bottle later. But just to put a tight lid on it, make sure it's very tight, airtight, you don't want anything to get into it, and let it sit. So to get the bottles ready, I have here a pot with boiling water, and I'm going to sterilize the bottles. Now I know you all know how to sterilize bottles, but I will just, because I am doing that step, I thought I will share it with you. And you can sterilize them in many different ways, but this is just basically what I do. Empty bottles that have been washed and cleaned, labels removed off of them. I like to reuse the bottles just to help the environment too, and you know, they're there already, so why not, right? So here I'll put in my 2 bottles that I have ready for the pickle, and then I'm gonna let it sit in the rolling water. I'm gonna boil the bottles really for a bit and give it about 5 to 10 minutes, and then take it out, dry it completely. You don't want any moisture, so dry it completely and let the bottles cool down, and they'll be ready to go. Okay, so now the bottles have been sterilized. I've taken them out and put them to dry, and while they're drying, we can go on with the next part of it. So now we're going to temper the pickle. This is my pickle, like I showed you. I have here about 3 to 4 pounds, maybe about 1.5 kilos um, of the pickle. And these are just rough measurements. You can adjust everything to taste. So I'll just go through the ingredients. This is fenugreek powder, and if you don't have fenugreek powder, what you could do is just lightly roast fenugreek seeds. And the reason you're roasting them is to dehydrate them, take out any moisture from them, and then to grind them up into a powder. So this is my fenugreek powder. We will probably use a little more than a teaspoon, a full heaping teaspoon of fenugreek. This is chili powder. Please don't be afraid of the quantity. We're not going to be using all of it, but I put in sufficient amount here, and then we can just adjust as we need. But we do need to use quite a bit of chili to balance out the sour and the salt from the lime. So that's why we need the chilies. You can also use red chili flakes, and you would need a lot more than that then. So this is my chili powder. Mustard seeds. I have here a heaping teaspoon of mustard seeds, and curry leaves. I have 4 sprigs of curry leaves here, and this is fresh. I advise that you use fresh curry leaves, or if that's not an option, then dried curry leaves, but not frozen, because you don't want to bring in any moisture into this dish as much as possible. And next thing is, it's very important that you do not use any steel utensils, or your spoon should not be anything but wooden. So use a wooden spoon, and if possible, use a clay pot, because it really does help. If not, I think it would still work in a heavy bottom pan. And last but not least, oil. We'll probably be using about 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil. You'll need sufficient oil for the quantity of lime pickle that you're making. Try to use a clay pot, because it really does help with the flavor. And so you want something that's seasoned well, an older pot, or you can use a heavy bottom pan. So once the pot is heated up, we can add in our oil, and you'll need sufficient amount of oil, not too much, but also enough to coat. So I've got there about 4 or 5 tablespoons of oil. It's quite a bit. Okay, so now it looks like the oil is hot. So I'm just going to drop in my mustard seeds. Okay, so before all the mustard seeds start to splutter, I'm going to add in my fenugreek, and you can see it's a heaping teaspoon. Put that in. Maybe just a little bit more, so 1.5 teaspoons. Give that a mix. And now the curry leaves, just going to take them off their stems. Because of the leaves, the oil will splutter on you. Okay, and it smells amazing right now because of the curry leaves. They're fresh and smells really good. So now I'm going to add in my chili powder, and I'll start off with about 3 to 4 tablespoons. Okay. And you want to give it a good mix and roast it so that the raw taste goes away. Yeah, I think that's more than enough. We'll see. If I need to, I can add some. And then I just drop in all of my lime pickle. With the juice and all. Okay. So once you do that, give it a good mix. See that nice bright color? Okay. And at this point, if you feel you have to add in more chili, you can do so. I think mine is fine. I don't want it too hot. And now I just need to heat it up. I don't even need to cook it, but I'll just heat it up so everything marinates well. And see that the lime is still attached. I hope you can see that. So the way we cut it into wedges, it's still attached. So when you're serving it, all you'd have to do is just separate it and take a piece or a slice of the lime. Okay, I'm just going to give it a quick taste to see if the chili is good enough. Oh yeah, it's spicy. And actually tastes really good. Okay, so now I will turn off my stove. And we are done. So there you go, folks. My recipe for today, lime pickle that I've made. I've bottled it up. You have to make sure the bottle is dry before you do that, and the pickle is cold, and then you can just bottle it up and make sure it's airtight, and then you can put it away in your fridge or even out in the counter, in a dark corner of your counter, and you can enjoy your pickle for a very long time, probably 6 months or more. But in my house it doesn't last that long because we do like pickle with our rice. So I thank you for watching. I hope this has inspired somebody to want to try lime pickle. It's so easy, especially for those that are not in Sri Lanka and crave that taste from back home. It's so simple to make. So I hope you do try it. Let me know. Share your comment. Share your results with me. You can post your comments below, or even like me on my Facebook page, Sunnylanka Homestyle Cooking. And I would love to hear from you. So until next time, Ayubo.